been a part of some very high profile cases. Are there any that you just thought there's absolutely no way I'm going to win this one, but you did?
Yeah, probably the case of Howard K. Stern in California, because he was hated, universally hated, because everyone believed he was responsible for giving drugs to Anna Nicole Smith, who passed away in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And then he fought for to be the father of the young girl that was born, and he lost that fight. I mean, he was hated.
Right.
And we went to trial in Los Angeles County in California.
And what was his charge?
Drugs, sending drugs out to Anna Nicole Smith. And during jury selection, first thing I ask is there any of you people that don't dislike? And there were but a few hands. Most of them had already formed their opinion.
Right.
But when the jury came back in, they found him not guilty.
And what was the journey of that? How did you arrive to such a conclusion that allowed them to have to change how could you change how someone
Because he
feels?
really was a nice guy. He just had a public image which is terrible. So I was able to draw out from certain witnesses that he was a good guy and he really cared for her and really tried to look after him. Right. And I had a prosecutor that overplayed her hand, and the judge didn't like her. So he gave me all the benefits that I needed in the courtroom to do my work.
Now, I have seen, I have heard, and experienced that most times when you're dealing with legal cases, trials, and just, courtroom activity, it's very rarely about legal and illegal, and mostly about who has the better explanation.
I think that's probably a very fair way of saying it. Many times it's about who tells the best story.
Yes.
As long as you got a few facts to work with.
Right.
That's the hardest part of being a criminal defense lawyer is there are many cases where you just don't have those facts. You look forward to a situation when you do, because if there's any magic to be performed,
right,
it's when you have a few facts at your disposal.
Right. And you have been an awfully non-judgmental person, you know what I'm saying, especially to me. And you have to be, I feel, to be an attorney. Was there ever a point in your career where your feelings, your opinions, your morals have prevented you from doing your best job, or you refuse to represent someone but just because you just couldn't do it?
Not from doing my best job, but yes, refusing certain types of cases. I will not handle child molestation cases. And if someone comes to see me and it's that kind of case, what I will say is, if you're innocent, I'm the best lawyer you're ever going to have.
Right.
On the other hand, if this is one of those situations in which when it's all said and done, it's going to look really bad, I'm not the right guy. And you best go find somebody else to look after you.
Right.
But that's the only kind of case I do it on.
Right, and we mentioned earlier, like it wasn't our first time meeting when I hired you for the gun case. I came to you before.
Correct.
When
you were still struggling.
I was still a struggling up and coming artist, but still being arrested nonetheless. And I needed some powerful representation, and you couldn't do it because there was a conflict of interest.
Correct.
You were representing someone who was also potentially could have been on that case. Could you care to say? Are you able to say who?
No.
Okay. All right.
The concern at that point was that I couldn't give you all the protection you needed because that could affect my other client.
Gotcha.
Which is why, wisely enough, I sent you onto Dwight,
and we worked it out as best we could. You know what I mean? And Dwight is a phenomenal attorney, and I think.
And for the audience, talking about Dwight Thomas.
Dwight Thomas, definitely. Dwight Thomas of Atlanta, and Dwight Thomas actually is who introduced me to Steve. But I think that so we have conversations about when we hear about certain people catching cases and so on and so forth. We have conversations amongst each other about cooperation, this, that, and the other. Will you represent someone who decides to cooperate?
I guess the answer that I would like to give is no, but it's not true. um, I there are a group of lawyers, and I give them full credit, that will not handle those kind of cases. But when someone comes to me and they say, I want you to look after me,
Right.
I want you to do what's best for me.
Right.
If I get hired under those circumstances, I got to do it.
That's real.
But I will if somebody says to me, should I cooperate?
Mm-hmm.
My answer to them is, that's your call. I will never tell you to go in that direction.
Right.
But if you choose to go in that direction, then I'll do what I need to do to get you in your best possible result. I prefer not to.
Right.
And I think I'm known as not doing it, because
Yeah.
I'd rather be in a courtroom trying cases, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't.
I mean, I say that because your natural just instinct, how you are as a person, as a human, you want to win.
Which means I don't want to be working on the side of my adversary.
Yeah.
I want to be in a courtroom taking on my adversary, making him or her do their job.
Yeah.
Because when they do their job, if they do it the right way and they win, well, that's just the way things go.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be part of their production in getting somebody else unless I have no other choice.
That makes all the sense in the world.
Which is why I don't when someone decides to cooperate, I don't participate in the cooperation. I'm not part of the planning.
Okay.
I'm not part of the sitting down and discussing the facts and what should be done.
Right.
Once they've made that call and I've cut the deal, game is on their shoulders, not me.